Hi, Elena. This is Siksha from Clever. A very warm welcome to you and
Thank you.
everyone. Yeah, we all are joining in. We might wait for just 5 minutes more and let
No worries.
everyone join in, and then we'll start up. Okay?
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so whilst everyone else is joining in, so hello everyone.
Yes, just 5 minutes to go, and we're excited to have you with us. Thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Thank you for having me. So whilst everyone else is joining in, just to keep you all busy somehow, why don't you all write in the chat room where you're coming from? So which city and which country you're tuning in from, how old you are, and then last question is, if you had one problem to solve in the world, what would it be? So as you're joining in, your name, how old you are, which country you're from, and if you had one problem to solve in the world, what would it be? Is it climate change? Is it poverty? Is it hunger? What is it that motivates you? Good to meet you all. So where are you tuning in from, Zaid and Ahmed? From Sudan. That's amazing. Age 9. That's super young. Amazing. So I just want to know who we have in the room, how old you guys are, where you're from. So from Riyadh, and you're 15. Brilliant. So we have quite a diverse age. Okay, age 8. I think this must be the youngest one. Amazing. 12. Okay. And if there was one problem you could solve in the world, what would it be, Ahmed? And Devonica, what problem would you be willing to solve if you had one problem you could solve in the world? So we've got somebody who wants to tackle climate change, and he's age 18, Mohammed from UAE. Thank you for tuning in. Advait, age 11 from India. Okay, you live in Oman, and the thing you would remove from the world is COVID. Yeah, it's a good one to remove. Help people do things faster and easier with the help of AI. That's a good one to solve, Siddharth. So you're from Riyadh, and you're 13. Great problems you want to solve. And fantastic. So once again, if you're just joining us in, where are you joining us in? How old are you? And if there was one problem you could solve in the world, what would it be? Just the one. Okay, so Devonica wants to solve poverty. Great. So we've got Sarah from Palestine, lives in Dubai. She's 14 years old. I'd like to try and make people care about climate more, and I would like to change the world into a better place using AI. We've got Said, who would like to stop cyber attacks, and someone from Kuwait, but or living in Kuwait, but from Sudan, COVID-19, and 12 years old. Global warming, yeah, that's a good one. Help poor people, so poverty again. Really, really great problems that you guys all want to tackle. Fantastic. So I still think the 8-year-old is the youngest one here, right? Brilliant. Okay. Let's wait perhaps for another 5 minutes for a few more people to join, and we're going to start in 5 minutes. So if you've only just joined us, just tell us how old you are, where you're from, and what problem you wish to tackle. So Zaman is from Saudi Arabia, age 9, and he wants to help poor people. Fantastic. Brilliant. All right, we've had a few more join us just now. So guys, if you're joining us just now, welcome and thank you for joining. We will be starting our webinar shortly. And in the meantime, just tell us how old you are, which country you're based in right now or from. And if there was one problem you could solve in the world, what would it be? Okay, so Zain from Abu Dhabi, 14. I would like to help people by giving them food. Okay, so hunger, right? Fantastic. Really, really great problems to solve. Rashmi, age 8 as well, from Saudi Arabia. So we have quite a diverse age group in here, from so many different ages and countries as well. All right. If you've only just joined, please let us know where you're joining from. And if there was one problem you could solve, what would it be? And your age, so that we know how many very young students we've got join, and what the age group in general is. And I will then adapt my style of delivery as well, hopefully. For housekeeping, let's have everyone muted as well. So as you join, please make sure you mute yourself.
மியூட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க கேமரா ஒண்ணுமே கேட்கல.
All right, so we've got someone else joining us from Nigeria, and you want to change the world by advancing current technology. But what problem would you solve with this technology? What problem would you address? Pratik, can you please mute everyone when I speak, because I don't have the hosting rights, so that we don't have any external sounds interfering. So if somebody, whoever is a host, please.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. If you could mute everyone when I speak, because I'm not a host, so I'm not able to mute. But
Yeah,
once
sure.
we get going, just let everyone know that whilst we're speaking, that everyone mutes themselves so that we avoid all the sounds. And can I share my screen at all? I just wanted to test whether I can share my screen or not. So let me find my PowerPoint.
From we are here because I'm.
Can you please enable screen sharing so that I'm able to share my screen when I present?
Just a minute.
Thank you. Okay, so you would tackle transportation and global warming. Very cool, very nice. So everyone who's just joined, welcome. We will be starting very shortly, and whilst we are waiting for everyone else, just tell us where you're tuning in from, and if there was one problem you could tackle, one problem you could solve in the world, what would it be? And if you want to tell us why, that would also be cool whilst we're waiting. So tell us what problem you would solve and why. I still am not able to share my screen. Pratik. Problem COVID-19, of course, is the main one, right? Everyone wants to tackle. All right.
Just try sharing once now.
Let me try. Yes, I definitely can share now. Brilliant. Thank you so much for doing this. All right, so let me just see if, let me stop and maybe share again with the sound, because I know I have a couple of videos to show as well. So I want to be able to share with sound. All right, so it definitely works. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, very cool. So do you want to give it another couple of minutes, or shall we begin? So you let me know when you want me to start and I will start. There are 34 people on this call. Are we good to go, or do you want to wait for a few more, because I don't know how many have signed up to participate? Pratik, I'm talking to you, sorry. Or one of the hosts.
Yes, ma'am, we can start, I think.
Yeah, shall we go ahead? And then, you know, whoever joins, obviously, you know, if this is recorded, they can also watch it afterwards, right? Very cool. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for having me today. My name is Elena, and I am the founder of Teens in AI. And what we do at Teens in AI, we empower young people as young as you, probably a bit older than 8 and 9. I know we have quite a few young students here today with us, but we work with 11 to 19-year-olds, and we empower you with knowledge and skills on AI and show you how to change the world using artificial intelligence and data science. And we've been doing this since 2015 for quite a while. So we are very well known in the industry for running hackathons. If you know what a hackathon is, by all means, so message in the chat. If you don't know, so a hackathon is a community of lots of people passionate about a specific problem, whether it's climate change or poverty, like many of you are, or COVID. They get together to solve it using technology. And so the medium that we like to solve these problems with is artificial intelligence. And I know we have the audience on this call are already familiar with the term, because many of you are already attending coding classes at Clevered. But I wanted to know from you what it is that comes to mind when we say artificial intelligence. So I'm going to copy paste this this link into the group, or perhaps Claire, you can do that for me, and we will see what you guys think about it. And I'm going to open it in here. I'll show you how this works. All right. It's a Jamboard. We use it a lot during our sessions. And what I would like to do is I would like to invite you to take a Post-it note just here, a sticky note, and put in add any first word that comes to mind when someone says artificial intelligence. All right, so you can also turn this into a different colored sticky note, and feel free to add them. I'm happy to move these around. So when someone says artificial intelligence, what does it mean to you? So what comes to mind when someone says AI or artificial intelligence? And feel free to make any references to, okay, so we've got intelligence made by humans. We have robots as well. This is brilliant. Oh, somebody has just changed the color of the screen. That's fantastic. I can see you guys are all super creative. That looks beautiful. Any other associations? Anything else that comes to mind when we say AI? Don't be shy. Feel free to practice. You can also draw. So you can take a pencil here or a pen, and you can make a drawing as well. So if you want to draw, if you prefer, feel free to draw. And you can also just write in here. Yeah, you can write as well if you prefer. Yes, shapes are welcome as well. So be as creative as you like. And you can even draw shapes. So you've got machine learning and robots and artificial intelligence. Okay, intelligence. Computers, that's great. The future, intelligence made by humans. Anyone else? Who else wants to add something? What else? Machine learning and acting by themselves. Yeah, okay. Human-made intelligence. A machine with thinking, human-made intelligence. Man-made intelligence. Self-driving car. Yeah, that's a good one. There you go. You all got the hang of Jamboard. You're almost ready for our next hackathon. That's brilliant. I'm really loving all of these responses, and whoever is creating the squiggles and connecting all of this, thank you for doing this. Oh, we've got a very long response here. When artificial intelligence comes into my mind, it connects the relationship between intelligence and robots. Let's take an example of Grammarly. Yeah, if anyone wants to give any examples of where AI is used, feel free to add some really great examples. Who else can think of where AI is used? Do you guys use Netflix? Yes. So yeah. Netflix is recommendation engine, and this is powered by AI. What about Spotify? Do you use Spotify?
Yes.
Great. So whenever Spotify recommends your next track, that's also powered by AI. Do you guys use YouTube as well? So
yes.
There's a recommendation there as well. Perhaps not the most perfect of all recommendation agents, but where else do we see AI? Self-driving cars, that's a great example. What about Siri, Cortana? Do you guys use those chatbots? They're probably not the perfect best representation of AI, but many still think there is AI. So if you were to put an age to AI, how old do you think AI is at the moment? You know, how advanced is it? How old do you think it is? And then I'll tell you what scientists think the AI's age is. How advanced do you think it is? Anyone wants to guess?
500 years, 300.
500 years. Okay. Well, compared to humans,
100.
100. Okay, well, the real answer is actually AI is not as advanced as we think it is. And some scientists have said AI's age would be akin to
18
4
years.
No, it's very, very young. So it's super young. So it's not really as advanced as we think it is. It's only apparently 3 or 4 year olds. So it's younger than every single one of you on this call, much, much younger. In terms of what it can actually do. I mean, we've been obviously talking about AI for a long time, but in terms of what the capacity, the capability for this technology is, it's very, very, young in terms of what it can do and what it can't. All right, so this is looking very, very pretty. Let's move on now. Thank you so much for interacting with me on this one. So this talk is going to be all about responsible AI, because we can be, developers. We can be developing and learning how to code and how to create technology like AI. But if we don't focus enough on responsible AI, on the ethics, on what might go wrong and how do we mitigate this, if we don't pay attention to the biases, of which every single one of us is guilty because we all are humans and biases are natural, then the technology that you're developing may be served for something that could potentially create some harm to the society, and that's what we want to try and avoid. So people like me who are AI ethicists, we tread on the side of caution. So we always ask, do you really need to collect this data? Do you really need to develop technology in this space? So some of the areas that we find where AI can be used, and it's a very controversial way of using AI in this, is, for instance, military use, right? Because we really don't want technology like AI being used for as weaponry. So, but I wanted to bring you back to the actual question: what is AI? So I know in many sci-fi films, it's associated with something that can do pretty much everything. It's magic. It can do lots of different great things. A very powerful technology. It's associated with Transformers or various cyborgs and ex machina. We talk about Turing test and whatnot. Some of the technologists would call it it's a technology, it's an algorithm. And then yet social scientists like myself, we like to posit AI in a much wider spectrums, and we always assume that AI is not just a technology and not just a machine learning, but it's an application that has got so many ways to apply to the society and so many ways to influence the AI as well. So it is very much within the system of socio-technical systems. So a lot of interaction, a lot of adaptability and autonomy, but at the same time, there are lots of forces that would be affecting AI, and it's the social context as well that really matters here. So it would be very limited if we just called AI a technology only. So there are things that AI can do really well, like identify patterns in data, with text, video, and images. It can extrapolate those patterns into new data, and it can take actions, based on those patterns. So this is what AI can do super well. So it's been used at the moment in, predicting cancer. So really great uses of AI in medicine. Some AI is being used as a personalization in education. Some really great uses of AI in agriculture as well, with precision agriculture, uses of AI in robotics, and obviously there is a lot we're exploring at the moment with AI. What AI can't do very well still is common sense reasoning, understanding the context as well as we would like it to do. It learns from few examples, learns general concepts, And what it can't do is combine learning and reasoning. So it is not as good as us humans in many of the things that we're used to doing. It's definitely not intelligence, so we can't really call it intelligence, although, of course, you know, if you're diving into philosophy and all of the connotations of what intelligence is, but in social sciences, we cannot possibly call AI intelligent, because the moment you add some noise, it turns panda into gibbon. It can turn vultures into orangutans. So it's not really as smart or as intelligent as we would like it to be. So for instance, to a human mind, even if you put some stickers on the stop sign, we can still, quite intelligently identify this sign as a stop sign. The way AI interprets it is something entirely different, and you can imagine the problems this may cause on the roads when, you know, the sign is stop, but AI identifies this as speed limit 45, right? So I wanted to briefly show you this cool video that will demystify some of the real issues that we are grappling with in the space of AI ethics, and why we all are urging everyone who develop AI to be very careful as to what this technology can be used for. All right. So you tell me first. I want to test it, test the sound. So tell me if you can hear it well.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
There has been a kind of sea change in AI over the last 5 years. Before that, had you asked seriously whether or not we should be crafting a code of ethics for artificial intelligence? As we've seen AI begin to be applied in real applications in Facebook and in self-driving cars.
Now is the time to be talking about these issues, and we are the people who will be deciding what society looks like for our children in an AI and roboticized world.
Over time, software is going to be written by software. AI is going to create the AI. So
let's get a code of ethics that really prioritizes ethical considerations at the beginning of design. And that will help both the creators of the technology and then certainly the users, because there's a better sense of value alignment for the technology and the people using it.
There is not one universal set of ethical principles, so it will be already very important to try to identify the right values to be used in a particular scenario. And then once you have identified them, of course, you need to understand how to model them and how to embed them inside the AI system that you want to develop and deploy.
When it comes to a split-second decision that will potentially involve a necessary injury or death, and there are trades, what will an automatic car do? This brings to the fore this notion of ethical models in our systems, and whose ethics are they?
We create these technologies, and we need to choose how we want to use them, or otherwise we will be used by them.
This idea of ethics is really this glorious opportunity that we have as humans right now today for deep introspection.
The awareness and the intent by creators of this technology is to not be blind, to not ignore those negative possibilities, but to understand them up front, make the world aware of them, and do what we can to mitigate their impacts.
How do we represent our values in these systems such that the systems are aligned with us? They would make the same decisions we might make had we had a long time to think about it.
The power of these AI systems is going to be that they do infer a lot, that they will know us better than we know ourselves. We'll be tracked in a lot of different ways with some kind of underlying goal. Is that goal to sell us products? Is that goal to make us more educated, to make us more civil, more open-minded? It's potentially an indoctrination machine. And how that's governed, who runs that, is that going to be strictly for commercial purposes? That's, I think, one of the key questions. This is too powerful just to sell lawn chairs to people. This changes the way you look at the world. So it would be good if it were taken that seriously, I think.
How will machines know what we value if we don't know ourselves?
Right. So any thoughts on what you have just heard? Why do you think we're talking about AI ethics? Just based on this film, what do you guys think? is it safe to just code for the sake of coding? Would probably be the question. So in the real world, in the industry, we've all realized that if we just let developers develop, coders code, and nobody is there to regulate, nobody is there to ask the tough questions, then we may end up with technology that is not going to be, used or created for the greater good. And I always say, if technology cannot be used or is not created to address a real problem, then why create that technology? Thank you, Sidar. So AI can be used in harmful ways if not paid attention. So that is the one really great conclusion you've inferred from this film. So I wanted to show you then another film, and it's a trailer, but the film at the moment is on Netflix. So if you guys can access Netflix from wherever you're based right now, I highly encourage that you watch this film. It's called Coded Bias. It's finally on Netflix. It's been released about a year ago. So it's a very, very recent film, and it goes through some of the issues that we are having to tackle in the world of AI, which is related to facial recognition technology. And the filmmaker here is a really good friend of mine called Joy Buolamwini, who realized when she was testing facial recognition technology that until she has put a white mask on, the technology was not recognizing her. The camera didn't recognize her. And this is where she realized there was a real problem with the algorithm. And whoever was creating that algorithm was probably white, was quite possibly also male, because we know that technology also, has got bias against women. So, but I wanted to briefly show you, it's another very quick trailer. And if you want to watch this full, this film in full, you can definitely find it on Netflix. I hope it is available in your area.
During my first semester at MIT, I got computer vision software that was supposed to track my face. It didn't work until I put on this white mask. I'm thinking, all right, what's going on here? Is it the lighting conditions? Is it the angle at which I'm looking at the camera, or is there something more? That's when I started looking into issues of bias that can creep into technology.
Our ideas about technology that we think are normal are actually ideas that come from a very small and homogeneous group of people.
Vast amounts of data at incredible speeds.
Everybody has unconscious biases, and people embed their own biases into technology.
This kid got stopped as a result of facial recognition misidentification, and then used that as justification to search you. This is an innocent child.
Racism is becoming mechanized.
Systemic issues are only going to be hardwired into new technologies.
It's not just face classification, it's any data-centric technology.
Every day, we are all being scored.
Who gets hired? Who gets housing?
I am making predictions for your life right now.
The people who own the code deploy it on other people, and there is no accountability.
Management at Atlantic Towers wanted to install the facial recognition software. Pretty much turn this place into Fort Knox.
The technology is being rapidly adopted, and there are no safeguards.
We are socially controlled in a way that we don't see.
Technology that analyzes faces could be biased, but the company is pushing it anyway.
What demographic is it most effective on?
White men.
Show me that it's going to be fair, that it's legal, before you put it out. That's what we don't have yet.
It's going to take people coming together, striving for justice in this age of automation.
So definitely watch this film, because it's a really phenomenal film that will show you, how a very small group of people, this woman in partnership with some of the other women and men and various other groups have gathered together to really demand a moratorium on facial recognition technology. And it shows me and everyone else as well, that a group of people can really change the world, because this technology has definitely been banned from using, in big companies, and many companies have started looking into all of these biases, whether it's related to facial recognition or related to emotion recognition, which is another very controversial technology. And so when it comes to biases, obviously, as I mentioned, the biases exist with all of us, because all of us are humans. But when we use technology, or when we create technology in the industry, what we try to do is try to minimize those biases and ensure that the technology is fair for everyone. And when we see technology that discriminates or is sexist, or creates the algorithm that has got bias against specific race or against specific gender or whatnot, then this is really a problem for everyone, for all of us, because it does really create the kind of stuff that we don't really expect to see in the industry. So these are just some of the examples that we've seen very recently, like Apple's sexist credit card investigated by a US regulator. Amazon had to scrap its AI tool because, again, it prioritized men over women when it came to recruitment. Amazon Prime has also been in the news over its racist algorithm and whatnot. So it's constantly a topic that's highlighted in the industry. If you have seen what was happening in the UK, for instance, we've seen an algorithm which didn't even have any AI, but it just was a classic statistical algorithm, and it's just really prioritized kids who go to private schools over kids who go to ordinary schools when it came to grading them in their final exams. And that's just not something we expect. So one of the classic examples that we are aware of in the industry is when somebody would put the word gorilla in the Google search, it would come up with a black couple. So, and when this happened, obviously we've realized that there was a massive issue with the algorithm within the Google search, and whoever was developing that algorithm could well have had their own prejudice or biases as well. So we have also come across this example with Microsoft. So there are very big companies that are making these kind of mistakes. When Tay chatbot was released, it started interacting with the humans on Twitter, and didn't really receive great amount of positive feedback. People started abusing the chatbot, and eventually the chatbot was learning from everything that people were saying to it, and Tay started saying some very vile, horrible comments, as you can see on the screen, which were completely unacceptable. So when that happened, obviously it got taken down from Twitter as well. But it's something, the kind of mistakes that we are learning from, that we hope will not repeat themselves again. So for instance, again, going back to Google, there is a translator, you probably use that as well. And in the Turkish language, there is that genderless pronoun, but when Google translates it, it immediately assumes that the doctor is a he, not a she or any other gender or them, because there are lots of genders for us to account for. So, and the one that we probably are all aware of is the Amazon recognition tool, which has been banned. It's no longer in operation because it was, again, had a lot of biases against women and against lighter skin tones, darker skin tones, prioritizing lighter skin tones, and this kind of biases, we see them in the industry constantly, and so that is the reason why we reinforce the notion of responsible AI, where AI is ethical, it is lawful, it's reliable, and it is ultimately beneficial. And when it comes to law, we are still waiting for the regulation, and the law is always playing catch up with technology, and everyone in the industry is obviously looking for more regulation when it comes to technology, not at the expense of innovation, obviously, but regulation is something that needs to happen, so that it is not also only in the Western world, but also in various other parts of the world where, regulation is classically or generally ignored. And so what we would like to see is responsibility and ethically developed AI is something that we want to be part of the very development of AI technologies, and at the very beginning of or at the very design of the product of the algorithms, so that we consider what might go wrong and how would be best to mitigate the risks that this technology might bring with it. And what we're looking for is, if you look at this picture, you probably can't tell, by looking just at these eggs, which eggs are, organic, which come from like a free range, certified and whatnot. But there is a certificate, there will be a stamp. I mean, I'm assuming that where you come from, it is the same as where I am based, because I'm based in London in the UK. And in the West, we do have specific regulatory authorities that check that the food we consume has been certified and is suitable for consumption, right? So what we're looking for is some similar type of certification, for AI or for any kind of technology that really deals with large volumes of data that could potentially impact populations at large. And there are certain areas where we don't want to see AI or technology used at all, such as military, but it is happening, and we really do want to see some regulation in that area as well. And what concerns me as a woman in tech and a woman in AI is the fact that still, at least, only probably about 20% or even less than 20% of us in technology, and less of us even in AI. To date, we know that there are less than 13% of women who are researchers in AI. So 18% of researchers at conferences are women, and many estimate to be even less than that. So the majority of professors are still men, and the workforce when it comes to AI, you can see, even at Google, there are only 2.5% Black, 3.6% Latino, and only 10% of Google developers in AI are women. And the same is true for Facebook and for various other big companies as well. So we do really put a very strong emphasis on diversity, and particularly on trying to encourage more girls into STEM and into careers in AI. So if we've got the time, I would like to just take you back to the Jamboard. So you can click back on that Jamboard link. So maybe Claire, let's put that link again, so that, because we've been interrupted in the, I don't know, I'm hoping that this is the right link.
Yeah, I've already put it in the chat.
So perfect. So let's just perhaps take one question. The question I perhaps want to take is, who is responsible when AI makes a mistake? So Claire, if you can put it on the Post-it note, let's see what everyone else thinks about it. And maybe another question we can add is, how can we encourage more teenagers like you to learn more about AI? I think we don't have more time than just to cover a couple of questions to see what you think about AI, who will be responsible. And the second question, how can we make it accessible to you? How can we encourage you to embrace this? Somebody else is super creative right now. So the first question is, who is responsible when AI makes a mistake? So put your answers in Post-it notes, and let's see. Okay, so somebody says it's a developer. Have any thoughts? The developer, the creator, the developers. Okay, so there seems to be like a consensus on this one. The maker, the developer. Okay, cool. All right. So okay, then I'm gonna be taking then on giving you another question. So, are there any cases when we should avoid using AI? What are your thoughts? Any specific cases when we should completely avoid using AI? When do you think AI should not be used? Facial recognition, personal uses. What kind of personal uses? I mean, if AI is recommending me some really cool products that I can use on my face, like lipstick or whatnot, is this, what do you mean by personal uses? Weapons, okay. When it causes blackouts, okay. All right. Very cool. Let's take another question. How can we encourage more teenagers to learn about AI? How can we
go on
help?
the second page, I think.
The second page, because this one is crowded now. So let's go here. So click on the second page, and let's take another question. How can we encourage more teenagers to learn about AI? So what can we do to help you on your journeys? Feel free to take some post-it notes. Teens should use educational video games or social media. Yeah, that's a good one. Through webinars like this one. Brilliant. Any other ways that we can make it accessible to you guys? Okay, somebody wants to make it very loud and clear. It's social media. Okay. All right. Okay, great. Anything else to help you guys learn about AI? So talking of social media, definitely go ahead and find us on Instagram and follow us on Instagram at Teens in AI, and tell us whether the way we're using social media to help you is good enough, or whether we should be doing more than that. So we're under Teens in AI on Instagram. So be visual and show users how it works. That's amazing. Education by ads, making everyone know the advantages. Very cool. This is really great. Okay, so thank you so much for engaging with me. If you have some more answers, by all means, use that Jamboard and feel free to add some more. But now I wanted to briefly tell you about the kind of stuff that we do at Teens in AI. And by all means, like I said, we are on Instagram. So if you are using social media, definitely check us out. And this is what I wanted to show you, which is the way we have been inspiring teenagers into using AI.
Doctors and nurses are working towards fighting this deadly virus.
We wanted to do something to help the people that are still having to go to work and combat the crisis.
The lack of supplies of protective equipment has inspired our solution.
It has the potential to speed up the process of PPE distribution to hospitals that direly need it.
Hello, my name is Alvaro. I'm 19 years old. And right now I'm living in Monterrey, Mexico. Given the current situation with the COVID-19 pandemic, me and some friends from Fiji, San Francisco, and also Seattle have been working together to create a little of a solution.
My name is Madeline Salem. I'm 18 years old. I live in Southern California in the US. Both of my parents are nurses, and so they have been working at the front lines of this whole pandemic situation. Sometimes they'd come home with these stories about there not being enough PPE, such as N95 masks or gloves, to go around to all the healthcare workers, which obviously generates a lot of panic and frustration.
Hello, my name is Suhana Sahid. I'm 19 years of age and I'm from Fiji. At the first stage and phase of our collaboration, we started brainstorming, and one of us actually came up with the idea of creating a model that facilitates PPE distribution in the US.
Hi, my name is Mukil Sharmagam. I'm a high school senior. I live in Redmond, Washington. We made a website that essentially it has a map that has different hospitals located on it, and we run some Python machine learning to identify which hospitals in different states are at the most risk of because of COVID. And as a result of that, companies can use that data to see where exactly they can deliver supplies to make the most impact.
We should protect our medical teams first because they are the front line of our service.
This problem is not only present on the UK or in the US or Mexico, it's present around the whole world.
One of the biggest challenges that my team had to overcome during the development of our product was the time zone difference. Our team actually spans 3 different countries and 3 different time zones.
Communication has been a challenge, but thanks to the online resources that we have today, communication has been effective, and that's only thanks to my teammates.
The overall impact that I would love for our product to have is just to play any role in minimizing the damage that the shortage of PPE in hospitals has been doing.
So this model allows companies to take primitive action instead of hospitals having to wait until their numbers increase and having to order the PPE.
We want to expand from just PPE to also helping deliver food to food banks because we also think that's a really important part of the COVID crisis.
All right, so and the reason why we are on our journey to inspire so many of you into AI, and not just AI, but responsible AI, is because, as already we mentioned, the AI and data science fields are overwhelmingly white and male, and we are facing some real serious diversity issues. And we do want to address this, from this angle of empowering younger generations. So the earlier you engage with this technology, the better you will be prepared for the jobs, of tomorrow. And some of the jobs have not been even invented, and so you will be in the driver's seat to shape those technologies and to shape the future of work. And so what's coming up is our 3-week global accelerator program. And this is a very unique program that we have got running in the summer. We are planning to run a smaller program, just a 1-day hackathon with Clevered. So if you are interested, Claire is going to leave a form and you can fill this in. If you're interested, we'll get back to you. But other than that, there are lots of ways to engage with us. So definitely follow us on social media. And if you're keen to do a program which is in-depth, it doesn't just focus on AI, but it also focuses on AI ethics. It focuses on your leadership skills. It focuses on entrepreneurship and various other skills that are needed in the industry. And this program is powered by MasterCard and various other industry companies. And you will be encouraged to tackle the problem that you are concerned about. So if you are interested, go to www.accelerator-2021, and you will then be taken to a page where you can express your interest right now. And it's a program which is the most popular program that we run in the summer. It's 3 weeks of very intense learning across different time zones. Last year we had more than 300 applications, only for 45 places. So it is highly, highly competitive. And if you are online, subscribe, follow on Instagram, listen to the podcast on Spotify, and definitely find us on Twitter if you're using Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So I'm more than happy to now pause and take any questions you may have. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Other than that, definitely go and fill in the form. Let us know whether you would be interested in participating in any future hackathons or our AI Accelerator program, and we will definitely send you some more information. And our partners, Clever, will be in touch with you in the hope that you will join the next, 1-day hackathon, where we will be challenging you to tackle some real problems that you're concerned about, and we will be trying to solve them using artificial intelligence and data science. Okay, so on this note, Does anyone have any questions at all on AI or ethics that you would like me to respond to? Feel free to either unmute yourselves or post them in the chat room, and happy to respond to these questions. And I hope you have found it useful and interesting. So definitely let me know if you have any questions at all. And I really enjoyed looking at the answers you've had provided in the Jamboard as well. All right. So I'm happy to wait for another minute or so. Any questions? Definitely now would be a really, really good time to ask those questions. And if you wanted to sign up to the Accelerator, I've just included the page. So definitely, by all means, do. Hi, Ahmed, do you have a question? Okay, so somebody has an internet issue. So anyone who has a question, please feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourselves and let us know if you have any question. Other than that, definitely check out the Google form so that we can send you more information on our upcoming programs. It's this one. No questions from Ahmed. Okay, very cool. All right, so Pratik and Clever hosts, if any questions pop up, feel free to send me an email and I'll be more than happy to respond. And guys, I'm also on LinkedIn, so if you are old enough to be on LinkedIn, definitely connect. And I'm on Twitter as well under Elena Sinel. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and connect if you have any questions at all. So I have got some questions addressed to me directly. So Shri, you can just sign up to express your interest on this program that I have just included the link to. And definitely if you share your details in the form, we can send you some more details if we're going to run a hackathon with Clevered, and you'll be the first ones to know. So this is the form that I have just shared. Okay. So if you leave your contact details there, then be sure we will be in touch with more details. Okay. But in the meantime, definitely sign up on Instagram. You bear in mind the program is for ages 11 to 19. It could be a little bit too much if you are 8 to 9-year-old, but definitely follow us on Instagram. So as you grow up, we will include you into our programs, because the program in the summer is for just slightly older children. You have to be at least 11. Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Happy to hang on for another minute or so. Okay, Sarah has got a question. You've raised your hand. Why don't you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi. There's a question that says, will you be applying for a hardship fund? What do you mean?
We do have a scholarship fund. So so if you apply, it's means tested, and it's also based on its ability tested as well. So we do have a test as part of the questionnaire and application process, and that is because, like I said, it's a very competitive process, that specific program. We have other programs running as well, and you will definitely be notified if you leave your details in the form, or by following us on social media. So if you follow us on Instagram, you will definitely learn about what we get up to. But if you express your interest on the Accelerator program, then we should be sending out the test, I think, next week. And like I said, we receive more than 300 applications every year, only for 45 places, so it's highly competitive. And the reason why we do have an age group, specific age group, is because if you are doing AI, we are focusing on a specific level for maths, and we'll be teaching you Python based on the relevant math skill level. And so we want to make sure that everyone is able to follow that course, because it's going to be sort of covering stuff that we use in the industry, and not your drag and drop tools. And so we want to make sure you have a specific level of math to be able to follow this course.
Well, I taught myself Python, and now I'm in the second course. And
Amazing. Fantastic. So definitely apply if you have relevant Python level already. So that means you are ahead.
So it says if you responded yes, please give more details. What should I give more details about?
If you have anything else to add, just add some more details. Other than that, you can just submit the form, because I think the last question is not compulsory. Am I right, Claire?
Miss, I'm also learning Clever, so we will learn in Clever AI, or there is another application to learn AI?
That's fantastic. And how old are you guys, Abdallah and Asadullah?
Miss, I'm 12 years old.
You're 12. Okay, fantastic. Well, you're definitely the right age group for us. So definitely apply. And if you've already covered some Python, that would be really cool. I'm on level on Scratch.
Application.
Okay. So you've got some intuition already. We don't usually cover Scratch in our courses, but if you already have some understanding, that's really great. The most important thing that you can have is the curiosity and continuously exploring. So Google is your best friend, right? You can find so much information on Google.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. Miss?
Yes.
Actually, I am learning artificial intelligence in Clever. After completing the all levels, there is any other courses?
I don't know anything about Clever courses, I have to say, but if you are interested to progress yourself further, then definitely join Teens in AI, and we can work with you to progress you further in the summer. So our summer program is a very intense program covering several tracks. Some will be beginners, but some will be quite advanced. So if you are in the advanced level, then we can definitely push you further, because our teachers in our course are from Imperial College London, and various industries. So they will definitely be giving you some personalized attention. Fab.
I have also a doubt. Does AI comes in coding or not?
Very much in coding, and a lot of maths. Yeah, so if you love your maths, then you are in great company.
Yes, miss, it's my favorite subject.
So Richard, all the information is on the website. The Summer Accelerator is not free, but there is definitely a scholarship fund you can apply to if you qualify based on your family's earnings. So we do have a lot of kids that join us from various countries where they can't where parents don't work, or there are some other issues. So we always prioritize kids who don't have any income or come from low income backgrounds, because we are a social enterprise. And a lot of the places are subsidized by big corporate companies. But we have a very limited number of places available for students who can pay. But most importantly is that they are able to follow the course. And they're able to compete, because it's a very competitive course as well. And in the end, in the past, we've had kids who would go to Silicon Valley on a course and on a trip to meet some very big companies, and you would also get work experience working with some really big companies. So we don't know all the prizes that are being offered this year, but it's a course that really does open up lots of doors to you. And everyone who attended this course so far got into some really good universities in Oxford and Cambridge, and Penn University and MIT and Stanford. So it really gives you an opportunity to change the world. And if you can change the world when you're only 12, 13, 14, every single university will want you when you're a little bit older. So fantastic. All right, guys. We are probably we're probably due to end this call. So I'm gonna pass you over to the host. So Pratik or anyone from Clevered, if you would like to wrap up. We've got Ahmed with a thumbs up. I don't know whether you wanted to ask a question.
Yes, ma'am. It was great having you with us, and I think the whole session was quite informative, and I hope our kids liked it too. So it's really, really pleasure having you with us. Thanks for all the information you have shared with us. And definitely we'll share all the details, kids, to everyone related to your queries and all. And probably looking forward to have more such sessions with you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Please take care, everyone.
What? I couldn't see them.